There you go. I finally hit the right button. Jeez. Okay, well, we're on. Time's a wasting. Yeah, I was just last night, I don't know, I was just kind of sitting around the house. It was a bit chilly outside, had nothing to do, so I'm surfing the web. And I love doing that. Going to various, just trying to find different things on YouTube. Last night, friends, I found a treasure trove. Let me back up here a little. There. Of very interesting vintage cartoons from I think from the 1920s, maybe older. They were silent cartoons featuring this farmer named Farmer Gray. Yeah, I think he was Farmer Gray or maybe Farmer Alfalfa. I think he went by both names. He'd answer to both names. Little bald headed guy, looked kind of like me, only he wore like coveralls and he was always trying to get work done on his farm, but the mice, the cats, the various farm animals were always messing with him. Yeah. And they were they were absolutely insane cartoons. Maybe a little bit of primitive audio, but not much. You know, a mouse might go "Meow," like that. Yeah, or "Rat, rat, rat," like they just couldn't. Yeah, it just wasn't quite time yet for talkies, and but they were great cartoons. I'll call him Farmer Gray, Grey. He'd get into so much trouble. Oh my God, the mice would be bugging him. They'd be eating his cheese and chasing him around. And he'd be chasing them, and so some of the mice had girlfriends, and oh God, they and the cats were always chasing the mice, and the dogs chasing the cats, and oh, it was great. And you can find them just Farmer Gray on YouTube, and you'll see gobs of these things. They must have every one restored and on the scene. Again, don't look for gut wrenching dialogue. There won't be any. There won't be any. There's one I used to love where Farmer Gray got himself, he found himself a bottle of moonshine. It was a big old ceramic jug with X's on it. And he took one too many swigs, and next thing you know, he's like on an LSD trip. Only it was cartoons. Yeah, it was pretty wild. I don't know what the name of that one would be, but when you find it, you'll know it. It was, let's see, I would have been about 5 years old when I first saw that cartoon. I'll tell you the truth, it kind of scared me. So what's happening to him? Oh, my father said, well, he's drunk. He's drunk. God, I don't ever want to get drunk. He said, yeah, you'll change your mind. I said, oh, look at him. And yeah, well, Farmer Gray. Probably not something to show kids. And definitely not to show teenagers. But it was a heck of a cartoon show. Yeah, the cartoons were great. The show where you could see them in New Jersey was on Channel 13, which emanated out of Newark, New Jersey. And there was a guy named Uncle Fred. I think it was Fred Sales, Sayles, something like that. Uncle Fred. And what he did was he had like a podium and then a bunch of kids sitting almost like at a countertop, alongside him, and then some more kids in the back in what would have been known as the peanut gallery. And he'd get them to cheer for Ovaltine or Bosco chocolate syrup. I forget which sponsor it was. And on things like Sky Bars. Sky Bars were this candy bar. You still see them here and there, where it was like a box of chocolates, but in a wrapper. And you got like four different flavors. You'd break one off, and maybe that was the cherry one. Then you had a caramel. Then you had a vanilla. And then I think you had like a chocolate cream, if I recall right. And darn good. And of course, Sky Bar was one of Uncle Fred's sponsors. And my folks one day I don't know. I don't know just how it happened. It must have been a day off from school, but but we didn't live that far from Newark. We were in Elizabeth back then, and my father said, "Hey, come on! I've been watching how you enjoy Uncle Fred. He says, we're going to go to the show. You want to go? I said, God, yeah. Whoa. We're going to see Uncle Fred? And darned if we didn't go. In fact, I sat kind of close. I think my father must have slipped the man a few bucks. I got to sit fairly close to Uncle Fred. I was like, there was one kid, and then Uncle Fred. I mean, I could see his podium, his coffee and all that. And I remember they had a guy come out and he says, now listen, you kids, I want you to behave yourselves while you're on TV. Remember, the world is watching. And we're, yeah, yeah. And he says, listen, when Uncle Fred when I go like this, you kids start cheering. Okay. I don't care whether you got anything to cheer about or not. You got to cheer. Okay. And clap and yell and all that. And especially when Uncle Fred's handing out Sky Bars. You guys like Sky Bars? Yeah, we're all screaming. He said, you're going to get plenty of them before the show's over. Don't you worry. And we'll give you a bag of them to go home. Yes. To share with your friends. Of course, we're all thinking, the heck with our friends. A bag of Sky Bars. And I don't know, there was probably maybe Dad's Root Beer or something was a sponsor. I don't know. There was so many sponsors. Sky Bars was a biggie, though. That was the big account. And then what we did was there were little TV sets about 10 feet from our peanut gallery, and we could see the cartoons. Couldn't hear them. You couldn't hear the music. You could see the cartoon. And when the cartoon was over, the guy who had been prompt and coaching us would come out and go like this, and we'd have to cheer that cartoon was the best thing ever. Of course it was. These were, go take a look and see. And you can find out about Fred too. I think his stage name was Uncle Fred Sales, Sayles, or ELS, Sales anyway. And with a Y. And I think you'll like them. And prepare to stay for a while. There's a lot of those cartoons. And the ones on the web are totally restored. The ones we used to see on our TV sets were very foggy because TV was still kind of primitive. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you'll see. They're actually very good. And to think, people knew how to do them over 100 years ago. Now, of course, animations, I guess, are near computer generated. But these were, I believe, drawings of people they drew, and matched them up to show motion. So pretty cool stuff. Anyway, I thought I'd say Uncle Fred. And I think I did hear that he had passed away. I don't know for sure, but if he were alive, he'd be, I don't know, something like 180 by now. Yeah. So, but I thought he was a pretty good guy. Yeah. Anyway, he was generally when it was commercial time, he'd get one of us to help him make some cocoa malt. I think it was cocoa malt or Ovaltine. And you always had to remember, kids, is you put a little bit of milk in the bottom of a glass, and then you pour in the Bosco or the cocoa malt, and you stir it, and you make a paste. And once you've done that, then you pour in the milk, and that spreads faster. You'll be enjoying it quicker. Just saying. Anyway, I'll see you later, friends. Good old Uncle Fred. It was a good show. I'll see you later. Thank you, and God bless.